Hello, everyone. So I have 15 minutes only. So I'm going to talk about the age of aggregation, as we say. When I say age of aggregation, I mean to say a specific thing, actually. Let me go to that slide. Last year, monolithic and modular, like basically mostly modular blockchain in the last 6-8 months has been the major talk of the town in crypto, right? That modular blockchains and this and that. And I'm going to talk about that how, and you are already seeing that these modular blockchains where you have multiple layer 2s, layer 3s, and the liquidity starts getting extremely fragmented, and how the aggregation is the end game, on top of the modular theory. So let me go back again. And I wanted to first talk about like what does Polygon stand for and what is the goal of Polygon. And I said that basically this the blockchains enable this open and trustless digital world, which obviously provides the more freedom and equal opportunity and empowerment to everyone. And we believe that this trustless environment should be scaled to the level of internet. And for Polygon, the goal is to scale this blockchain space to the scale of internet. That's the main goal. And that is where we believe that this aggregation mechanism, the aggregation design, actually is probably the only way to scale blockchains to the scale of internet. And so basically, you see till 2023, primarily the blockchain space consisted of like these monolithic blockchains. Very few blockchains had come up which are like modular in nature, but then primarily it was like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polygon POS, Solana, and so on. And these blockchains like have very good, relatively very good user experience for the composable applications. But beyond a certain like this thing, like the moment you want to have a certain amount of scalability, like even let's say take an example of Solana, which is very highly scalable, but then still like it has a limit of like maybe 5,000 to 10,000 transactions per second. The moment you start attracting a lot of users onto your chain, suddenly the blockchain starts hitting the scalability limits. Then in 2023, like late part of 2023 and early 2024, we are seeing this modular world where like so many roll-ups, layer 2s, layer 3s, these roll-ups are launching. And now as a user, it's extremely, extremely difficult, right? Because you have to like bridge your assets from one chain to another. You don't know what kind of security assumptions you are taking when you are bridging from one chain to another. And other kind of user experience related problems are coming up. So, and the popular modular stacks are like, OP Stack, Polygon CDK, you have like Arbitrum Orbit and all that. And there are hundreds and hundreds of these blockchains already, already coming up. And by the end of this year, I think we are going to have around 1,000, these layer 2, layer 3 blockchains. And it's going to be extremely problematic for users to actually move around their funds, and the liquidity gets fragmented. So this is where I was saying that, from monolithic we went to modular, but the next step is aggregation. Now, I'll tell you more about like what is the meaning of aggregation and what we are doing, what Polygon is doing on the aggregation layer. So what happens in the aggregation, what you are saying with the aggregation layer is that these modular chains are there, like, for example, A star, ZK, VM, Polygon, layer 2 chain, other layer 2 chains, even layer 1 chains. All of these chains are fragmented. What we are doing with aggregation is that we have this layer called, we call it ag layer, aggregation layer, which essentially, using the ZK technology, zero knowledge technology, aggregates these state machines. Each of these blockchains are essentially separate state machines. And what the ag layer does is when it gets the ZK proofs to it, it combines all the ZK proofs and create like one single ZK proof, one single global state root. Like basically you can say the ledger of all the ledgers, right? It creates one single place. And then once you have that, then the funds or like your assets, your information can move from one chain to another in a very, very fast and trustless manner. Like then, with using ZK technology, you are using mathematical proof to bridge from one chain to another, to move your, to move your information, let's say events or basically messages from one chain to another in a seamless way. Like right now, I'll give you an example. Right now, when you are moving from your bridge, you're bridging your assets from chain number 1 to chain number 2, and you are using a bridging service, like it can be any kind of bridging service, you are relying on 3 layers of security. You have the first bridge security, then you have the first chain security you have to rely on, then you have to rely on the bridging security, and then you have to rely on the chain 2's security, right? And we have seen how many bridges have collapsed. In 2023 itself, I think people lost like hundreds of millions of dollars because of the compromises in the securities of the bridge. So with the AG layer, you don't have that issue, because all the chains connected here, they are submitting their ZK proofs. And once the ZK proofs are aggregated together, it has a one single kind of mathematical security across all the chains. And that helps you unified, that helps you unifying the liquidity, where you have liquidity connected across the networks. You have on-ramp, off-ramp integrations. We have this function called like bridge and call function, for example, which we say you onboard to any chain, and then if the chain is connected to AG layer, you can seamlessly move without you as a user knowing it. You can seamlessly move your assets to the to other chains. And similarly, cross-chain transactions, like let me give you an example. Like for example, let me give an example with the A-star ZKVM. Like with the AG layer, if you are using, let's say you are playing some game or you bought some NFTs and you want to swap those NFTs, or you want to, let's say, sell your gaming tokens, whatever gaming tokens you got into the ZKVM, which is a public chain and has more liquidity, you can just click a button, and in the background, all this process happens trustlessly. Not like you relying on anybody's safety and security of any third party. So, and then all these, like when this happens, as a user, all these chains start feeling like one single large blockchain. And that is the goal of this aggregation layer, that all the chains connected as a user, you just come to one chain, no matter which chain it is, you just get onboarded. After that, you don't have to, you don't even know that which blockchain you are interacting on, as far as they have some level of mathematical security with the zero knowledge technology. So I was saying that, fast cross-chain transactions, bridged assets, there's no need for bridged assets causing liquidity fragmentation, and so many other things, right? The first one is also very important. Like, for the blockchains, this composability is one of the biggest feature. Like, one application can interact seamlessly with the other application, and that is, possible with this aggregation layer. There are multiple components to this. As we said, that the unified bridge, which basically is one single bridge, which kind of provide all the cross-chain and all the cross-chain liquidity movement and all that. We call it unified bridge. Because previously, some of you might know it as LXLY bridge. And the other thing is proof aggregation. You aggregate all the proofs and submit them as ZK proofs on Ethereum. So all the chains are secured by Ethereum. But now with the ZK proof and the unified bridge, you have liquidity flowing across seamlessly. Like this unified liquidity is probably the most important element in this, because blockchains are essentially like these, we call them like, it's internet of value, right? And value can flow around. And think of it like compared to the internet. Like current internet, Web 2, is the internet of information. And information can seamlessly flow from one, network to another network. Like today, when you onboard, you can use any of your device. You can use your computer, mobile, any device. You can connect with CDMA. You can connect with broadband. Any kind of internet connection, you are connected to one single network. Similarly, the purpose of the AG layer is no matter which blockchain you are connecting and you are using, as a user, you don't know. For you, this is just trustless internet. You are interacting with blockchains, and there is nothing else you need to worry about. that is the end game, and that is the end game for Web3. Like I'm saying, maybe Polygon does it, maybe some other protocol does it, but the end architecture which takes blockchains to the internet level scale will look something like this. And it will look like something like aggregation layer. And we are already seeing a lot of aggregation related projects coming up in the space. And maybe, by the Q2, Q3, Q4, or early next year, you will see a lot of projects talking about aggregation. This is already happening. And Polygon is, pioneering this. And then other part is obviously needless to say, when you can have like these thousands and thousands of these chains, you can have unlimited scalability. Like I'm not saying like 10,000 TPS, 50,000 TPS, 100,000. I'm saying unlimited TPS, like billion TPS. This network, by the end of this year, when it has, let's say, 1,000 rollups connected to it, like not end of this year, maybe like end of next year, each chain can do, let's say, 1,000 TPS. So with the 1,000 rollups or 1,000 chains connected to this network aggregate will have probably 1 million TPS, right? So the TPS is actually a very bad metrics, but I'm just saying that, because in crypto we care a lot about this TPS metrics. I'm saying this single aggregated network will have like million, and it can scale up to even billion TPS in coming future. That's the future we are building towards. And what it essentially means is you have unlimited scalability, just like the way you have today on the Web 2 internet. You have unlimited number of mobile apps, almost unlimited number of web apps, and nobody has to think about like, oh, we don't have enough scalability on the server side. And then, I already mentioned about this, that Polygon, what is Polygon? Polygon is this aggregated blockchain. Like after multiple years of research, many of you guys might know that in ZK, Polygon is the, has emerged as the most pioneering team. Plonky 3, which is our Plonky 2, Plonky 3, our proving system, is now being used by like almost all the top teams in the space. So now after all of these years and years of this research, we reach a place where Polygon is essentially this aggregated blockchains. Thousands and thousands of blockchains can connect to one single layer, and then for the users, they can feel one single blockchain. And previously the panel was there and we were talking about layer 3s. When this aggregation layer comes, then there is no use of layer 3s also. Everything can be a layer 2 without the cost. Right now what happens is if you are a layer 2, you have to post the data and the proofs on Ethereum directly, which is very costly. So your gas fees also goes up. Right? I mean, you can post the data somewhere else, but even the proofs are costly for you to put. But when you have aggregation layer, which is combining all the proofs and putting all the proofs to Ethereum in one single shot, then what happens as a rollup, you don't need to be a layer 3. You can be a simple layer 2 and just post your proofs to the aggregation layer, which is extremely, extremely cheap. And you can almost have layer 3 like low gas fees, but you are still a layer 2. And more and more blockchains are going to choose this. When we speak to them, they are all like, when the ag layer comes, they all want to be, layer 2s. Nobody wants to be the layer 3. Even for their valuations, it's actually a little bit not conducive. And then, like, this is the last message, like, that we all know that, I want to end with this, that we started with this monolithic phase where, like, in 2017, 18, where you have Bitcoin, Ethereum, you had like many blockchains talking about it. Then we had like even Polygon POS became very popular. You have like Solana and many other blockchains. They were all monolithic blockchain, but one single blockchain. Then last half of the year of 2023 and the early part of 2024, it has been all about modular. But modular, we are already hearing fragmentation issues, right? Like this is too much fragmentation for users. It's really bad. And so aggregation is like the next stage of modular, and you are right now hearing it from me, but mark my words, by Q3, Q4, you will hear a lot about aggregation, and already we can see the whole category exploding. So many projects raising funds and things like that, doing their VC rounds around aggregation. So this is the next, end game and the next stage of crypto, and probably the end game of, blockchain scaling. And then finally, there are already like large quality projects which are building on this aggregation layer. You have Immutable, the largest gaming platform. You have OKX, one of the largest exchanges launching their chains, A-Star. Even layer ones like Near Protocol are connecting to this, and you will see more and more and more applications and chains, app chains and ecosystem chains launching on this. Thank you so much, guys. I am up on my time.